Kang Minho stepped off the transport shuttle and immediately felt wrong. The air was too clean, too filtered, like breathing inside a hospital. He missed the smell of Earth. Even the polluted city air had more character than this sterile atmosphere. The Galactic Concordance Academy stretched before him, a massive structure of silver and glass that seemed to grow out of the purple landscape of Valorum Prime. He was the only human here. The first one, actually. Earth had only made contact with the Galactic Concordance 3 years ago, and the bureaucratic process to get him enrolled had taken most of that time. Now, as he walked through the entrance with his single bag of belongings, hundreds of eyes and eye equivalents stared at him. A tall crystalline being approached him, light refracting through its body in rainbow patterns. "Student Kang Minho," it said, its voice like wind chimes. "I am Instructor Velthrus. Welcome to the Academy. You are assigned to Residential Unit 7, Room 42. Your roommate is already settled?" Minho bowed slightly, a habit from home. "Thank you, Instructor." Velthrus tilted its head, studying him. "You are much smaller than the record suggested." "Are you fully grown?" "Yes, sir. I'm 22 years old. Fascinating. Your species matures so quickly." Velthrus gestured down a corridor. "Please proceed to your quarters. Orientation begins tomorrow at dawn cycle. Do try to survive the night," Minho blinked. "Survive?" But Velthrus had already glided away, leaving him confused in the hallway. Other students passed by, giving him a wide berth. Some whispered to each other in languages his translator implant struggled to process. He caught fragments. Death world. Primitive. Dangerous. He found room 42 and pressed his hand to the entry panel. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Inside, an insectoid creature about his height jumped nearly a foot in the air, all 6 of its limbs flailing. "Apologies. Apologies." It chittered, its mandibles clicking rapidly. "You startled me. You must be the human. I am Rixal from Chitara Prime. I promise to be a good roommate. Please do not eat me." Minho froze, his bag still over his shoulder. "Eat you? Why would I eat you?" Rixal's compound eyes seemed to shimmer with nervousness. "The briefing said humans are from a Class 12 death world. You consume other living creatures for sustenance. I have read the reports. They are terrifying." "I mean, yeah, we eat meat, but we don't just eat random people," Minho said, setting his bag down on the bed that looked far too soft. He poked it experimentally. It felt like lying on a cloud. "We cook our food first, usually." "Usually?" Rixal backed against the far wall. "That was a joke. Bad joke, sorry." Minho sat on the bed and immediately sank into it uncomfortably. "Look, I'm not going to hurt you." "Humans are friendly. We're here to learn and make friends, just like everyone else." Rixal's antennae twitched uncertainly. "If you say so. But I must warn you, I have 16 siblings. If something happens to me, they will be very upset. Nothing is going to happen to you." Minho tried to adjust the bed's firmness through the control panel, but every setting felt wrong. Too soft, too firm, too warm, too cool. He gave up and lay back anyway. "So what's this place like? The Academy?" Rixal slowly relaxed, moving back to his side of the room. "It is the most prestigious institution in the galaxy. Students come from 300 different worlds to study here. We learn diplomacy, xenobiology, advanced sciences, and survival techniques." "Survival techniques?" "Yes, the Academy believes in practical education. We face real challenges, real dangers. Every semester, students are tested against actual threats from across the galaxy." Rixal's voice dropped to a whisper. "Some students do not return from the final examination." Minho sat up. "Wait, seriously? That's allowed." "Death is rare," Rixal assured him quickly. "The Academy has excellent medical facilities. Usually, students are only severely injured. That's not as comforting as you think it is." Over the next few days, Minho tried to adjust to Academy life. The furniture was all wrong for his body. The food tasted like paste, even though the menu claimed it was nutritionally complete for his species. The other students avoided him in the hallways, and when he sat down in the cafeteria, the table would empty within minutes. His only communication with Earth came through Park Jiwoo, a liaison officer stationed at the human embassy, 3 systems away. Her face appeared on his communication screen each evening, and she always looked tired. "How are you holding up?" she asked during their 3rd call. "Everyone thinks I'm going to murder them in their sleep," Minho said flatly. "My roommate barricades his sleeping pod every night." "Give them time. Humans are new to them. They're probably just curious." They're terrified, Jiwoo, and I don't understand why. We're not that scary. Jiwoo laughed. Minho, you're from Earth. Do you know what the Galactic Concordance scientists found when they studied our planet? We have more apex predators per square kilometer than any known inhabited world. Our oceans are filled with creatures that can bite a small spacecraft in half. Our insects carry diseases that can wipe out populations. Our weather systems regularly create storms that would be classified as natural disasters on most civilized worlds. But we live there just fine. Exactly. That's what scares them. The morning of the orientation, Minho joined 300 other students in the Grand Assembly Hall. He took a seat near the back, trying not to notice how the students on either side of him shifted away. Down on the floor, a massive reptilian student with green scales and a thick tail pointed at Minho and said something to his friends. They all laughed. Instructor Velthrus appeared on the stage, its crystalline body gleaming under the lights. Welcome, students, to your first semester at the Galactic Concordance Academy. This year, we have representatives from 47 different species, including one very special addition. Its gaze turned to Minho. A human from Earth. Every head in the room turned. Minho tried to sink lower in his seat. Humans are a newly discovered species, Velthrus continued. Their inclusion in our program represents a significant milestone in galactic relations. I expect you all to treat student Kang Minho with the respect and caution his species deserves. Caution. Great. Now, to discuss your first major practical examination, I must introduce you to the creatures you will face this semester. We have secured specimens from the most dangerous regions of known space. Your survival scores will determine your placement in advanced courses. The lights dimmed. A holographic image appeared above the stage, a snarling creature with too many teeth and claws like swords. This is a Korvax beast, Velthrus announced. Native to the forbidden zones of the Outer Rim. Tomorrow you will witness a live demonstration of its capabilities. Attendance is mandatory. Murmurs of fear rippled through the student body. The reptilian student who had laughed earlier was no longer smiling. Minho stared at the hologram and felt a strange sense of calm. He had seen worse on nature documentaries back home. He had absolutely no idea that this thought was about to change everything. The combat arena was the largest structure Minho had seen on campus, a massive dome that could apparently simulate any environment in the known galaxy. As he filed in with the other students, he noticed the seats were positioned behind thick, transparent barriers. Several medical teams stood ready at strategic positions around the arena floor. This seems excessive for a demonstration, Minho muttered to Rixal, who had reluctantly agreed to sit near him. The Korvax beast is no ordinary creature, Rixal replied, his mandibles clicking nervously. It has killed trained warriors. The barriers are necessary. Students filled the stands, and Minho noticed that the front rows remained completely empty. Everyone wanted to sit as far back as possible. He found a seat in the middle section, which apparently made him braver or stupider than most of the crowd. The massive reptilian student from yesterday, whose name Minho had learned was Vorn, strutted past with his group of friends. He paused when he saw Minho. Look, the human sits close, Vorn said loudly. Perhaps it does not understand danger. Mammals are known for their limited intelligence. His friends laughed. Minho ignored them, which seemed to annoy Vorn even more. When you soil yourself in fear, human, do not expect sympathy from the rest of us. I'll try to contain my disappointment, Minho said dryly. Vorn's eyes narrowed, but before he could respond, the lights dimmed. He quickly moved to his seat several rows back. Instructor Velthrus appeared on the arena floor, surrounded by a shimmering force field. Its crystalline body reflected the harsh lights dramatically. Students of the Academy, today you will witness one of the galaxy's most dangerous predators. The Korvax beast has been brought here at great expense and greater risk. What you are about to see represents the challenges you will face in your survival examinations. A holographic display appeared in the air, showing statistics and images of the creature. Minho leaned forward, studying it with genuine interest. It did look impressive. 6 legs, each ending in retractable claws. Armored scales covered its body in overlapping plates. Its head was broad and flat, with bioluminescent eyes that could apparently see in multiple spectrums. The tail looked powerful enough to break bones. The Korvax is an apex predator from a world with 3 times the gravity of standard, Velthrus continued. It can run at speeds exceeding 80 kilometers per hour. Its jaws can exert pressure equivalent to a small spacecraft's docking clamps. Its roar has been measured at 170 decibels, capable of causing permanent hearing damage to most species. Around him, students were already looking pale. Some had activated personal protection fields. Rixel had all 6 limbs wrapped around his seat. Note the containment teams. Velthris gestured to armored figures positioned around the arena. They are equipped with the latest in stun weaponry. Nevertheless, I encourage all students to remain behind the barriers at all times. A large reinforced door at the far end of the arena began to open. The sound of metal scraping on metal echoed through the space. Every student held their breath. The Korvax beast emerged slowly, its body low to the ground, muscles rippling under its scales. It was massive, easily 400 pounds of pure predator. The bioluminescent eyes swept across the arena, and Minho could have sworn the creature was assessing everything it saw. It was beautiful, in a way. Evolution had crafted something perfectly designed for hunting and killing. The beast moved across the arena floor with surprising grace. Then it stopped, raised its head, and roared. The sound was incredible. It vibrated through Minho's chest, rattled his teeth, and made his ears ring even through the dampening fields. Around him, students screamed. Some covered their ears. Others activated emergency communication devices. One student near the front actually fainted, sliding out of their seat. The Korvax roared again, louder this time, establishing its dominance. It was pure, primal intimidation. The creature began to pace, its movements showcasing power and speed. It leaped 15 feet straight up, twisted in midair, and landed without a sound. Its claws extended and retracted. It simulated a hunting charge that had several students trying to climb over their seats to get further away. Minho watched all of this and felt his eyes getting heavy. He had been up late the night before, working on an assignment about comparative government systems. The arena was warm. The seat, despite being designed for multiple species, was actually pretty comfortable once he adjusted his position. He yawned. It was a big yawn, the kind that made his jaw crack and his eyes water. He did not try to hide it. The student next to him, some kind of amphibious being with blue skin, turned and stared at him with bulging eyes. Then the student beyond that one turned, then another and another, like a wave spreading outward. The whole section fell silent. Then the section beyond that. The silence spread through the arena like a plague until even the Korvax beast's growls seemed to fade into the background. 300 students and a dozen instructors were now staring at Kang Minho, who was in the middle of stretching his arms above his head to work out a kink in his shoulder. He noticed the attention and looked around, confused. "What? Did you just yawn?" Rixel whispered, his voice barely audible. "Yeah, I'm tired." The Korvax beast. Rixel gestured frantically at the arena floor. The most dangerous predator in the known galaxy, just demonstrated its hunting capabilities. And you yawned? Minho looked down at the beast, which had stopped pacing and seemed confused by the silence. He looked back at the hundreds of terrified faces staring at him. He realized this was some kind of important moment, but he honestly did not understand why everyone was so worked up. "I mean," he said slowly, "it's impressive and all. Good roar, nice claws," he paused. "But back home we call that a cat. A big one, sure, but still a cat." For 3 full seconds nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The entire arena might as well have been frozen in time. Then chaos erupted. Students were shouting. Instructors were activating communication devices. And Vorn was standing up and pointing at Minho while bellowing something about lies and disrespect. The medical teams looked confused, checking their scanners as if Minho might be having a medical emergency. Instructor Velthris's voice boomed through the arena, amplified by technology. "Order, maintain order." Slowly the noise died down. Velthris floated up from the arena floor, still surrounded by its protective field until it was level with Minho's section. Its crystalline body was pulsing with colors Minho had not seen before, probably indicating some strong emotion. "Student Kang Minho," Velthris said, its voice tight with control. "Did you just claim that your homeworld has creatures comparable to a Korvax beast?" Minho realized he might have made a mistake, but it was too late to back down now. "Not exactly comparable. I mean, the Korvax is bigger than most cats. But yeah, we have a lot of big predators on Earth. This one kind of reminds me of a tiger, maybe. Or a really big mountain lion. The roar is good, but I've heard lions at the zoo that were louder." "Zoo?" Velthris asked. "Places where we keep dangerous animals so people can look at them safely. Kids go there for field trips." The amphibious student next to Minho made a sound like choking. You keep creatures like this? Velthris gestured at the still confused Korvax beast. In recreational facilities? For children to observe? Well, not exactly like this. Our big cats only have 4 legs, not 6. And different colors. But yeah, basically. Minho was getting more confident now, not realizing how insane he sounded. We've got 6 different species of big cats. 7 if you count cheetahs, though they're built different. Plus bears, wolves, crocodiles, sharks, venomous snakes. Enough! Velthris's voice cracked through the arena. Dean Corrales, please report to the combat arena immediately. We have a situation. Minho sank into his seat. Rixel had moved 3 seats away. Thorn was staring at him with what might have been fear or rage or both. The Korvax beast, forgotten in all the commotion, let out another roar. Minho glanced at it and could not help but think how much his cat back home would have hated that thing invading its territory. He was pretty sure he had just made the worst first impression possible. Dean Corrales was an old being even by galactic standards. Its species could live for 300 years, and the Dean had seen most of them. It floated into the medical bay where Minho had been escorted, its gas-filled body rippling with barely contained frustration. Sit, the Dean commanded. Minho sat. He had been standing in the corner while Medical Officer Trinxa ran scanners over his head, muttering about brain chemistry and possible delusions. Student Kang Minho, the Dean began, its voice like distant thunder. In my 190 years at this academy, I have never encountered a student who responded to a Korvax beast demonstration by yawning and comparing it to a domesticated pet. To be fair, Minho said carefully, I didn't say it was domesticated. Big cats aren't pets. Well, some people keep them as pets, but that's illegal in most places and also a really bad idea. Silence. The Dean moved closer, studying Minho with eyes that had no human equivalent. The medical officer believes you may be suffering from a severe psychological break, possibly trauma from being separated from your homeworld. Your species is known to be social, and isolation can cause deterioration in mental function. I'm fine, Minho insisted. I'm not crazy. Earth really does have creatures like the Korvax. Lots of them. Impossible. We have surveyed your world. It is classified as a Class 12 death world, yes, but surely you exaggerate the dangers. Primitive species often mythologize their surroundings. I can prove it, Minho interrupted. Connect me to Earth's database. I'll show you. The Dean was silent for a long moment. Very well. If only to document your condition properly. Officer Trinxa, establish a connection to the human information networks. 10 minutes later, Minho stood in front of a large holographic display with the Dean, Medical Officer Trinxa, Instructor Velthris, and 3 other senior staff members. They had called in Limdeho, a xenozoologist from Earth's embassy station who appeared via holocall looking both amused and concerned. Okay, Minho said, pulling up images on the display. This is a tiger, Bengal tiger specifically. They can weigh up to 600 pounds. They're ambush predators, can run 40 miles per hour, and have been known to hunt alone for prey much larger than themselves. The image showed a magnificent orange and black striped cat, frozen mid-leap. The staff members leaned away from the hologram instinctively. This is a lion, Minho continued, switching images. They hunt in groups called prides. That roar I mentioned? Lions can be heard from 5 miles away. They take down water buffalo that weigh over a ton. Impossible, Medical Officer Trinxa whispered. Your species coexist with such creatures? We don't really coexist peacefully, Minho admitted. They eat us sometimes. We've learned to avoid them, build barriers, develop weapons. But yeah, they're on our planet. Next up, bears. This is a grizzly bear. This is a polar bear. They're the biggest land predators on Earth. 1,200 pounds of muscle, claws, and teeth. They hunt in Arctic conditions that would kill most of the species I've seen at this academy. He clicked through more images. Leopards, jaguars with jaws strong enough to crush skulls, cheetahs that could outrun any land vehicle these aliens had seen, crocodiles lying in wait, great white sharks breaching the water with seals in their mouths. Lim Daeho took over, his voice professional but proud. Student Kang is not exaggerating. Earth is home to an estimated 8.7 million species, and a disproportionate number of them are predatory. We have venomous snakes that can kill with a single bite, spiders that can shut down organs with their venom, plants that can cause excruciating pain or death if touched, microscopic organisms that cause plagues. And you, the Dean said slowly, simply accept this as normal? We don't have a choice, Minho said. It's where we evolved. We learned to deal with it. We made tools, built shelters, figured out which things were dangerous and how to avoid them. Eventually, we became the apex predator. Well, kind of. We're still pretty fragile compared to most large animals. We just got smart enough to compensate. Instructor Velthris, who had been silent, finally spoke. Show them the domesticated animals. Minho grinned. This was going to be the good part. Okay, so about 10,000 years ago we found these. He pulled up an image of a wolf and decided to make them into these. He switched to a picture of a golden retriever puppy. The room erupted in shocked gasps. That is the same species? Trinxa demanded. Technically a subspecies now, but yeah, we call them dogs. We bred them from wolves. They live in our homes, sleep in our beds, play with our children. We have over 300 different breeds, from tiny ones that fit in your hand to massive ones that can pull sleds across frozen wastelands. You domesticated an apex predator, the dean said, its voice hollow, for companionship and protection, hunting assistance, herding livestock, rescue operations, and emotional support. Dogs are great. Minho pulled up another image. These are cats. Small ones. We also domesticated them, though they kind of domesticated themselves. They kill pests mostly. About 600 million of them live with humans as pets. Pets, Medical Officer Trinxa repeated. You share living spaces with predatory species voluntarily. They're not really dangerous, Minho said. I mean, they have claws and teeth, but they're small. They mostly just sleep and knock things off tables. Limdeho cut in. Dean Corrales, if I may. There is an important context you should understand. Humans evolved in an environment where they were not the dominant predator. We were prey for most of our history. We survived through intelligence, cooperation, and adaptability. We learned to read animal behavior, predict weather patterns, identify poisonous plants, and construct elaborate tools. Our entire civilization is built on the foundation of surviving in one of the most hostile environments in the known galaxy. So when Student Kang looks at a Korvax beast, Instructor Velthris said quietly, he sees something familiar, something he has been trained his entire life to recognize and avoid. Pretty much, Minho agreed. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't want to fight one. But it's not some alien terror. It's just a big predator. It has patterns, behaviors, weaknesses. If I had to, I could probably find a way to avoid it or defend myself. The dean floated backward, as if physically recoiling from the statement. You believe you could survive an encounter with a Korvax beast? I don't know, maybe. Depends on the terrain, available resources, whether I saw it coming. Back home, people survive encounters with dangerous animals all the time, usually by making noise, appearing large, or climbing something the animal can't reach. Sometimes you play dead. Sometimes you fight back. You figure it out. This is madness, Trinxa said. This is humanity. Limdeho corrected. They are from a death world, Dean. You must adjust your understanding of what that means. The dean was silent for a long time. Finally, it turned to Instructor Velthris. Disseminate this information to all staff and students immediately. Earth is to be reclassified in our educational materials. Humans are to be recognized as a species with extraordinary survival capabilities, born from their hostile environment. Should we adjust the survival training program? Velthris asked. No, the dean said firmly. We should observe. Student Kang will participate in all standard examinations. If humanity is to join the Galactic Concordance, we must understand what they are capable of, and what they have endured to get here. Minho felt a chill run down his spine. He had a feeling his time at the academy was about to get a lot more interesting. By evening, every student on campus knew. The cafeteria went silent when Minho entered. Rixel met him at their usual table, though he still maintained a careful distance. Is it true? Rixel asked quietly. Everything they are saying about Earth? Probably, Minho said, poking at his food. What are they saying? That your world is a nightmare of death and predation. That your species evolved alongside creatures that make the Korvax look weak. That humans are secretly the most dangerous beings in the academy. Minho sighed. We're not dangerous, Rixel. We're just from a rough neighborhood. Across the cafeteria, Vorn sat with his friends, no longer laughing. When he caught Minho's eye, he looked away quickly. The human realized that respect and fear looked very similar from a distance. 3 weeks passed, and Minho settled into an uncomfortable routine. Students no longer fled when he approached, but they watched him constantly, like prey animals monitoring a predator. He tried to be friendly, helpful, and normal, but everything he did seemed to reinforce their fear. When he helped a student reach a high shelf, they marveled at his predatory climbing instincts. When he squinted in the bright cafeteria lights, someone whispered about his hunting focus. When he ate a sandwich, half the room watched his teeth like they were weapons. Only Rixel maintained regular contact, though even his friendship was cautious. They studied together, and slowly, the insectoid began to relax around him. The Academy is developing a special Earth-standard survival course, Rixel mentioned one evening while they worked on xenobiology homework. I heard instructors discussing it. They want to properly challenge you. That sounds ominous. They are bringing in creatures from higher classification death worlds, more dangerous than anything currently in the curriculum. Minho looked up from his data pad. That seems like overkill. They want to understand human limitations, Rixel clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. Currently, they believe you have none. Before Minho could respond, an alarm shrieked through the building. Red lights pulsed in the hallways. His door slid open and Instructor Velthrus's voice came through the communication system. All students remain in your quarters. We have a containment breach in the Wilderness Preserve. Multiple specimens have escaped. Security teams are responding. Do not leave your rooms under any circumstances. Rixal immediately sealed himself inside his sleeping pod. Minho moved to his window, which overlooked part of the campus. In the distance, he could see the Wilderness Preserve, a massive enclosed area where the Academy kept various alien ecosystems for study. Lights were flashing around its perimeter, and he could see security vehicles moving into position. His communication device buzzed. It was a priority channel from Yoon Seo-hyun, a human military advisor who had arrived 2 weeks ago to assess the Academy's training protocols. Her face appeared on the screen, all business. Minho, we have a situation. Several students are trapped in the preserve. The security response is too slow. They are mobilizing for a full containment operation, but those kids don't have time. What do you mean? I mean there are 15 students surrounded by escaped predators, and the alien security teams are terrified of approaching. 2 students are injured. They need immediate extraction. But everyone here is trained to wait for overwhelming force before engaging. That could take 30 minutes. Those students don't have 30 minutes, Minho said, understanding immediately. No, they don't. I'm sending you their location. The Dean has authorized your assistance if you are willing. What equipment can I get? Basic survival kit. Knife, rope, emergency flares, first aid supplies. The armory won't release anything more substantial to a student. Minho was already grabbing his jacket. That's fine. Send me the terrain data and species information for the escaped creatures. You are insane, Rixal called from inside his pod. Those are deadly predators. They're animals, Minho said, strapping on his boots. Animals are predictable. I'll be back soon. 10 minutes later, Minho entered the preserve through an emergency access point, data from Yoon Seo-hyun streaming to his handheld device. The environment was a mixed ecosystem, parts forest, parts grassland with a small water feature. The escaped creatures were 3 different species, all considered dangerous by galactic standards. He moved quietly, using techniques his grandfather had taught him during camping trips in the Korean mountains. Watch where you step. Listen for everything. Keep the wind in your face so predators cannot smell you. Read the signs in the disturbed vegetation, the broken branches, the scratch marks on trees. The first creature he encountered was something like a large, armored reptile, about the size of a big dog. It was blocking the path ahead, tail swishing in agitation. Minho studied it for a moment. Body language showed it was nervous, not hunting. It probably escaped during the chaos and now did not know where to go. He picked up a stick and threw it to his left. The creature's head snapped toward the sound. While it was distracted, Minho quickly climbed a nearby tree. These aliens had created remarkably climbable trees, probably never imagining students would use them for evasion. He moved through the branches until he was past the creature, then dropped down and continued. The student's location was near the water feature. He could hear them before he saw them, frightened voices trying to stay quiet but failing. He approached slowly, taking stock of the situation. 15 students from various species huddled together in a small clearing. 2 were clearly injured, one with a badly torn leg, another with what looked like toxic burns. The others formed a protective circle around them, but they were unarmed and terrified. Surrounding them at a cautious distance were 2 predators. One resembled a large cat-like creature with 6 legs and a barbed tail. The other was something Minho could not easily compare to Earth animals. It had a long, sinuous body, multiple eyes, and moved like a snake but with more coordination. The predators were testing the group, trying to find a weakness. They had not attacked yet because the students were packed together and facing outward. But it was only a matter of time. Minho activated his communication device. "Yoon, I'm on site. I need you to tell security to make a lot of noise from the eastern perimeter in 3 minutes. Lots of lights, engine sounds, whatever they have. Make them think there is a major response coming from that direction." "Got it. What are you going to do?" "Something probably stupid." He gathered dry branches and used the emergency flares to start a small fire. On Earth, fire was humanity's oldest tool against predators. Most animals feared it instinctively. It meant danger, pain, forest fires, destruction. He hoped these alien creatures shared that instinct. When the fire was going, he pulled out a metal water bottle from the survival kit and began banging it against a rock, creating a loud, rhythmic noise. Then he started walking toward the students, holding a burning branch in front of him, making himself as large and loud as possible. The effect was immediate. Both predators turned toward him, confused by the noise and fire. The snake-like creature reared back, its multiple eyes focusing on the flames. The cat-like predator flattened its body against the ground, clearly uncertain. "Hey," Minho shouted at the students. "Everyone up. Move toward me slowly. Stay together." Vorn was among the trapped students. His eyes widened when he saw Minho approaching with fire. "The human has gone insane." "Move or die, your choice." Minho called back, still banging his makeshift drum and waving the burning branch. The students scrambled to their feet, half carrying the injured ones. They moved toward Minho in a tight group. The predators watched but did not approach the fire. Right on time, security teams on the eastern perimeter activated their vehicles, creating a wall of sound and light. The predators heard it and instinctively moved away from what sounded like a larger threat. "Keep moving," Minho directed, positioning himself between the students and the predators. "Slow and steady. Don't run." Running triggers chase instincts. They made it 50 meters, then 100. The predators followed at a distance but did not attack. Minho kept the fire between them, kept making noise, kept himself large and intimidating. When they finally reached the secure zone where medical teams waited, Minho threw the burning branch back toward the predators. It landed in the grass and created a line of flame that sent both creatures running in opposite directions. He turned to check on the students. The injured were being loaded onto medical transports. The others stood in shock, staring at him like he had just fought off a spaceship with his bare hands. Vorn approached slowly, his proud bearing gone. "You saved us. You walked into a death trap and saved us." "You would have been fine," Minho said, feeling awkward. "Security was coming. We would have been dead," a small blue student said quietly. "The injured could not wait." "You knew that." Yoon Seo-hyun appeared from one of the vehicles, grinning. "Not bad for a college student. Your grandfather would be proud." "Just used what he taught me," Minho said. "You used fire." Rixal chittered, having apparently escaped his pod to watch the rescue on monitors. He scurried up to Minho, antennae waving excitedly. "You controlled fire." "Like it was nothing." "Humans have been using fire for hundreds of thousands of years," Minho explained. "It's kind of our thing." Dean Corrales floated over, its body pulsing with colors Minho was learning to interpret as respect. "Student Kang Minho, you have demonstrated capabilities we did not know existed. You remained calm while surrounded by lethal threats. You improvised solutions. You protected others at risk to yourself." "I just did what needed doing," Minho said honestly. "Yes," the dean said quietly. "That is what makes your species so extraordinary." The Academy Assembly Hall was packed for the emergency gathering. Every student, every instructor, and every administrator had been summoned. Minho sat in the front row this time, not by choice but because Dean Corrales had specifically requested his presence there. Next to him sat the 15 students he had rescued, including Vorn, who had been uncharacteristically quiet since the incident. The lights dimmed and the dean floated to the center of the stage, its body luminescent in the darkness. "Students and faculty of the Galactic Concordance Academy," the dean began, its voice filling the enormous space. "We gathered today to address an incident that has revealed profound truths about our institution. and our understanding of the galaxy. Holographic displays lit up around the hall, showing footage from the preserve rescue. Minho watched himself on the screens, wielding fire and noise against creatures that most species considered unstoppable. He looked smaller than he felt, more vulnerable than he remembered being. For centuries, this academy has prepared students for the challenges of the galaxy. We have taught survival techniques, combat training, diplomatic skills, and crisis management. We believed we understood danger. We believed we knew what it meant to survive. The dean paused. We were wrong. Murmurs spread through the crowd. The human student, Kang Minho, demonstrated something yesterday that defies our conventional understanding. He entered a lethal situation with minimal equipment and extracted 15 students without a single additional casualty. He used fire, a primitive tool most species fear instinctively, as both weapon and shield. He read animal behavior in real time and adapted his strategy accordingly. He remained calm under pressure that would have paralyzed most trained security personnel. The dean turned toward Minho. Stand. Please, Student Kang. Minho stood reluctantly, feeling hundreds of eyes on him again. Many of you have been afraid of this human, the dean continued. You have avoided him, watched him with suspicion, treated him as a potential threat. After yesterday, that fear has only intensified. Some of you now believe humans are dangerous predators who should be monitored closely. This is understandable, but it is also incorrect. The hall fell silent. Humans are not predators, the dean said firmly. They are survivors. There is a profound difference. Another holographic display appeared, this time showing Earth from space, then images of its various environments. Deserts, jungles, Arctic wastelands, stormy oceans. Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world, the highest danger rating in our system. But we did not truly understand what that meant until now. Humans did not evolve to be apex predators. They evolved to persist despite countless apex predators. They are not the strongest, fastest, or most venomous species on their planet. They survived through intelligence, cooperation, and an extraordinary refusal to surrender to their environment. Han Jisoo, Eartho the Galactic Concordance, appeared via hologram beside the dean. She was a composed woman in her 50s who had spent the last week in emergency meetings about the incident. Dean Corrales has asked me to provide context, she said, her voice calm and professional. Humans have been shaped by hardship. Our planet has tested us with ice ages, volcanic eruptions, predators, diseases, and natural disasters. We survived not because we were the deadliest species, but because we learned to work together and never gave up. Every human child is taught from birth to assess danger, plan for emergencies, and help others in crisis. These instincts are woven into our culture. Bainari, a human cultural specialist, joined the holographic display. She was younger, more animatess the fear directly. Yes, humans can be dangerous when necessary, but we are also deeply social, empathetic, and cooperative. We form bonds across species lines. We domesticated wolves into dogs not through domination but through mutual benefit. We care for injured animals. We risk our lives to save strangers. Yesterday's rescue was not an act of predation. It was an act of compassion backed by practical skills. The dean gestured for Minho to speak. He had not prepared anything and felt completely unprepared. He started eloquently. I just want to say that I'm not some super soldier or anything. I'm a regular person from Earth. What I did yesterday, that's normal for us. Not that we rescue people from alien predators regularly, but the basic skills, reading situations, staying calm, using available resources, that's just how we're raised. He looked around at the frightened faces. I know you're scared of me. Of humans, I get it. Earth sounds terrifying when you list all the ways it can kill you. But here is the thing. We are not violent because we enjoy it. We are capable because we had to be. Every species here evolved in their own way. You all have your own strengths. Ours just happen to be stubbornness and adaptability. He thought about how to explain it better. Back home, there is this idea that humans are defined by our response to fear. We could have hidden in caves, lived small, safe lives. Instead, we explored the whole planet. We climbed the highest mountains. We dove to the deepest oceans. We went to places that wanted to kill us and said, not today. That is what makes us human. Not that we are fearless, but that we are afraid and do what needs doing anyway. Vorn stood up in his section. The human speaks truth. I was trapped in that preserve, surrounded by predators, certain I would die. Kang Minho walked through that same danger, like it was a training exercise. He protected us. He asked for nothing in return. The reptilian's voice cracked slightly. I have been hostile to him since he arrived. I mocked his size, his species, his world. Yet when I needed help, he came. That is not a predator. That is... He struggled to find the word. That is a good person. Other students stood. One by one, they shared their thoughts. Many admitted they had been afraid. Some still were, but the fear was changing into something else. Respect, curiosity, a desire to understand rather than avoid. Rixal spoke last, his voice stronger than Minho had ever heard it. I have been roommates with Kang Minho for 5 weeks. He has never threatened me. He makes terrible jokes, stays up too late studying. He gets homesick and watches videos of his planet. He is kind to me even when I am afraid of him. Yes, he is from a death world. Yes, he has skills we do not possess, but he is also my friend. And I believe humans are not here to harm us. They are here to teach us that survival and compassion are not opposites. The hall erupted in discussion. Dean Curalis let it continue for several minutes before calling for silence. The Academy will be implementing several changes, the Dean announced. First, we are expanding our cultural exchange program. More humans will be invited to attend, and our students will have opportunities to visit Earth under carefully controlled conditions. Second, humans will be invited to teach courses in survival techniques, crisis management, and adaptive problem solving. Third, we are establishing a new philosophy in our training programs. Survival is not about avoiding danger, but about learning to exist alongside it. Kim Jemin, another human student, art afternoon, along with 2 others. The presence of multiple humans seemed to normalize things. Students approached them cautiously but with genuine interest rather than pure fear. Over the following weeks, the academy transformed. Minho started teaching basic survival skills, how to build a fire, purify water, construct shelter, read animal tracks. The students were terrible at first, but they learned. More importantly, they stopped seeing these skills as weapons and started seeing them as tools for living. Vorn approached Minho one evening in the training yard. Would you teach me hand-to-hand combat? Human style? Why? Because I want to understand how you think, how you assess situations. You have a method to your survival. I wish to learn it. They trained together 3 times a week after that. Vorn was stronger and had natural armor, but Minho was faster and more adaptable. They learned from each other. Rixal finally stopped barricading his sleeping pod at night. One evening, he asked Minho about Earth's insects. Minho showed him pictures of butterflies, beetles, and bees. Rixal was fascinated by human beekeeping, the idea that humans would form a partner sect species to produce food. You truly do make friends with everything, Rixal observed. We try, Minho said. Life is easier when you are not fighting everything all the time. 3 months after the rescue, Minho sat in his room on a video call with Park Ji-woo. She looked less tired now, more excited. You have become something of a celebrity, she told him. The Galactic News Network did a feature on human students at the Academy. Applications from other species to Earth's cultural programs have increased by 300%. That is insane. That is progress. You showed them that Earth is not just a death world full of monsters. You showed them it is a world that produces people worth knowing. Minho looked out his window at the Academy grounds. He could see students training in the yard, a mix of species learning to climb, build fires, and read terrain. Kim Jamin was leading the session, patient and encouraging. Forn was there, struggling but determined. Rixal watched from a safe distance, taking notes. How is it going, really? Ji-woo asked. Be honest. It is good, Minho said, and meant it. They are still a little scared sometimes, but scared is better than hostile. And scared becomes curious if you give it time. Think you will stay for the full program? Yeah, someone has to show them that humans are not so bad. Plus,